Welcome to Neeve, a smarter foundation for spaces. Today I will be showing Neeve's Secure Edge, digital infrastructure that secures your building technology and improves building operations, sustainability, and innovation. But first, let's talk a bit about the challenges with current building technology. As owners and operators are trying to improve building efficiency and tenant experience, they are connecting IoT devices and building systems to the internet. Often these connections are insecure, opening them up to risks of data theft and ransomware. To get data out of buildings, connect applications, or provide remote servicing, vendors and operators often install VPNs and desktop sharing tools. These are notoriously insecure as they lack granular controls that will prohibit bad actors from moving laterally within the system. Additionally, most of the applications, such as building management, lighting, and access control systems, are on hardware that is owned by third-party vendors. These are typically unmanaged and not up to date with the latest security patches, opening up additional attack vectors for hackers. Before we show you how Neeve can address these issues with our Secure Edge, I'll show you how to check if your building is secure. The easiest way to check is with Shodan, the IoT search engine. For example, I can find all the BACnet devices openly connected to the internet by searching for a common BACnet port 47808. There are over 45,000 as of this demo. I can narrow the search to Tritium Niagara devices, and there are almost 2,500 Jace devices and other systems running the Niagara framework connected to the internet. If I pick one, I can see that port 80 is also open. This is a common port for the web-based management interface, and following that link, I can see that this building management system is unsecured and open for any malicious third party to attack. Open systems are easily found, so bad actors don't need to know a specific building or address. They can just attack anything that is poorly secured. So if your building technology is vulnerable, what is the solution? Implement a zero-trust architecture. The first step is locking down your systems with strong perimeter security. Eliminate all open ports, VPNs, and third-party connections to your systems, and make sure any traffic in and out of your network is encrypted end-to-end. Next, don't allow anything to connect to your networks or systems unless it is a known and trusted resource. This means that you don't allow anyone to connect a laptop or device to your network directly unless it is approved. It also means that you need to centralize user management so you control and authorize every user that connects to your network. Finally, you implement a least privilege access model. This means for any device or user connected to your network, they only have access to exactly the devices and applications they need to use and nothing more. So how do you do this? With Secure Edge. It starts by installing our Secure Edge appliance, or what we call a node. You plug your internet into one side and your building network or LAN to the other. Once it is connected, there are just a few simple steps to secure your buildings and networks. Once your device is plugged in and powered on, you need to onboard the device into the system. Log in to our cloud-based portal, go to the Node section of the application, and click Add. Fill in the name and basic fields to configure the device's connection to the internet, and your device is online. Next, you need to set up your building network or LAN. You can see all your devices on the node list. Clicking one gets you details on its current performance and configuration. Here is where you would configure the LAN connections. Click Add to add a new network, but in this case, I'll show you one that is already there. In the network configuration, there is a name field and basic networking details. Also, there is a section for security. By default, Neeve puts in place a strict security policy to reduce the building network's attack surface. There is also a section for remote networks. This is where you would configure any secure connections to the cloud. Our connections are all bookended with certificates, meaning there is a verified connection at each end, which prevents a man-in-the-middle attack. With your networks connected, you are done with the first pillar of a zero-trust approach. Your networks are locked down, and your connections are encrypted. Let's move on to finding all the devices in our building with the Device Discovery feature. Neeve's Device Discovery scans a network and creates a catalog of all the digital assets. We'll quickly set one up. Click Create Scan to start the process. Pick the network and then the type and depth of the scan. Next, choose to run it once or run regularly to monitor changes, and then confirm to start the scan. When the scan is complete, you can access a report of the results. You can view a sample of the data such as MAC addresses, IPs, and ports, or you can download it as a file. From here, we can enable secure remote access to any of these devices. On our cloud-based remote access portal, you will see an alert regarding the newly discovered devices. In the list of devices, you can select the ones you want to enable for remote access. Give the device a name and set a name for a unique URL. For each device, you set up remote connections to specific ports, giving you granular control of who can access what. Finally, you pick what group of users you want to grant access. Don't worry, soon we'll show you how to manage those users and groups. Once remote access is enabled for a device, any authorized user can connect to it with a web browser, whether it is a remote desktop, web page, or other kind of application, just by clicking a link in our remote access portal. With device discovery, you know all your assets. And with secure remote access, you ensure that only known devices and users have access to those assets. Neeve's cloud-based remote access offers powerful tools for managing users. When you add a user, you set their basic information and also whether you want them to authenticate with your SSO or our internal identity provider. Once you have added them, you can set their permissions. This is done through device groups. You can make a collection of devices, say all your lighting equipment, and grant access to that set. You can also schedule access, putting constraints on when and for how long users have access to the system. With our granular controls on user authentication, device and port level permissions, and time-bound access, you can easily put in place a model of least privilege access. What I've shown you is just the beginning of a journey to digitally transform your infrastructure. Once Neeve's Secure Edge is installed, it can allow you to take control of the applications in your building. Instead of installing multiple servers in your building, you can leverage our Edge application runtime environment instead. The Secure Edge can run leading building applications like the Niagara Framework or cybersecurity monitoring like AVIC to improve the operations of your buildings. These applications are cloud managed, making deployment 75% faster than a typical deployment and making ongoing management and updates easier. To deploy, visit the application marketplace, pick an application and select the building where you want to deploy and input some basic settings. Once the application is deployed at the edge, you can visit the node page to verify it is running and control any settings or updates. Thanks for listening, and if you would like to learn more about Neeve's Secure Edge, visit neeve.ai or reach out to sales@neeve.ai to schedule a demo.